Let's talk MVP. Now, people say that the MVP race is down to 2 players. I would argue it's 4. NFL logic tells us it's 5. Obviously, Stafford and Maye are the frontrunners. They've played incredible. Stafford was already a Hall of Famer to me, and at 37 years old, he's having the best season of his career. And Drake Maye is only in his second year, and he's clearly a future face of the league. Now, those have been the 2 best quarterbacks this year, which is why they're the 2 frontrunners. But I don't necessarily think that's what the MVP award should be. What does MVP stand for? Most valuable player. And the most valuable player to their team is no question Josh Allen. Josh Allen being plus 2,500 odds to win the MVP is crazy to me. He has single-handedly kept this team alive. And the Bills have the third best odds to win the Super Bowl. And without Josh Allen, they aren't even sniffing the playoffs. The Patriots spent a ton of money in free agency. They hit slam dunks in the draft, and they brought in one of the best coaches in the league who should have never been fired. And as a franchise, they have a winning culture. Drake Maye is great, but most QBs would succeed in that situation. Not necessarily to the level of Drake Maye. I'm not trying to discredit how great he's been, but it's clearly a QB-friendly situation. Now, for Matthew Stafford, yes, he has played the best ball this year. Numbers don't lie. But numbers also can't be the full story. Look at the team around Stafford. He's got an underrated O-line. He's got a top 3 receiver duo. Puka Nacua being the most dominant receiver in the league right now, along with likely future Hall of Famer Devontae Adams. Especially if he gets a ring, I think he'll have a really good shot at getting in there. In the backfield, his running backs, Kyren Williams is a great running back. He's consistently putting up points on the board. And Blake Corum has begun to emerge as a pretty decent running back. Who knows how good he could be given a bigger role. They also have multiple good young tight ends with great potential. A defense that gives Stafford the ball back. And one of, if not the best coach in the league in Sean McVay. Stafford has been the best player in football this season. But take Stafford away from the Rams. Obviously they wouldn't be as good. But they'd still be a great team. I mean, the Rams have the best roster in the league. We just went over that. Now, as I said, NFL logic tells us there are a couple more MVP candidates, and those are the QBs of the 2 1 seeds. Now, after losing to the Seahawks last week, the Rams are unlikely to win the NFC West, and the winner of that division will more than likely get the 1 seed. Now, obviously, the Seahawks are the favorite to win the division and claim the 1 seed, but I like the 49ers and Brock Purdy to win out and claim that 1 seed. Now, Purdy was bad to start the season and had an injury which resulted in Mac Jones starting, and many thought that Mac should keep the starting job over Purdy. I was not one of them, but based on that, I'm ruling Purdy out. Now, if the 49ers do get the 1 seed, Christian McCaffrey will be brought up in conversations. But MVP is a QB award, and I believe rightfully so. The quarterback is the most important and valuable player on the field, whereas running back is one of the less valued positions in the league. Now, if the Seahawks do get the 1 seed, Sam Darnold is automatically put into the conversation. He's played great, and the Seahawks weren't expected to do a ton this season. And I'll explain why that's important later, but I see Darnold as a weaker version of Stafford, which isn't a bad thing. They both have a dominant receiver in contention for Offensive Player of the Year, great defenses, though Seattle's is much better, and great young head coaches. The only issue I have with Darnold is I don't trust him. In the big games, Darnold crumbles, whereas Stafford only plays better. Stafford has won a Super Bowl. I know I can trust him come playoff time. I'm not saying Darnold is a choker, as we've only seen him with bad organizations that don't really have big games to choke away. And the Vikings, who as a franchise are generational chokers. So while he was definitely the weak point of the Vikings in their big games, That could just be a result of a dysfunctional organization who always disappoints in the big moments. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. We don't have a real sample of Darnold in the big games. But I can't just pretend I didn't see his performance against the Rams in the playoffs last year. I just can't see Darnold winning the MVP this year. On the flip side, Denver will get the 1 seed, I think, automatically putting Bo Nix in the conversation. Bo Nix has been the best sophomore quarterback, with the best wins and the highest highs over his 2 seasons among all second-year quarterbacks. However, he's been overshadowed by Drake Maye and Jaden Daniels each year. Bo has been the best quarterback. Don't get that twisted. He just hasn't had the best individual year yet, according to most, though I would disagree. The Broncos' defense was, for majority of the year, winning them games. But people say that the Broncos don't have an offense, which is true in some ways. Back to that in a second. But how can you say the Broncos' offense isn't winning them games when they've trailed in every game they've won this year except for one? That's 12 comeback wins. Yes, the defense plays a huge part in that, but that is an offensive stat. All Bo Nix has been doing this year is winning games and setting records. The Broncos' win total going into the season was 10.5. They hit the over on that in one streak. 11 games, 11 wins. And the entire time, Bo Nix was getting slandered online. Bo is the one getting all the negative attention, yet he's the one that managed to win 11 in a row. Those streaks don't happen much. And no matter how you twist it, that is a quarterback stat. The reason MVP is a quarterback award is because the quarterback is the most important and valuable position on the field. Average quarterbacks don't go on 11-game win streaks. It's time to give Bo some flowers. It takes an offense to get 12 come-from-behind wins. And Bo Nix is this offense. I just said that many people say the Broncos don't have an offense. And that is in many ways true. Obviously, we are not talking about the O-line, which has been the best in the league this year. But we are talking about inconsistent coaching and the weapons. Let's compare to the rest of the quarterbacks we're talking about. The Seahawks with Sam Darnold have an Offensive Player of the Year favorite at wide receiver and an inconsistent but good running back duo. The Patriots have Offensive Rookie of the Year favorite at running back and some pretty reliable options at wide receiver. The Bills have Offensive Player of the Year candidates at running back, an Offensive Player of the Year candidate at running back, not multiple. I don't even know who their backup be. Ty Johnson. I don't know. But they also do have bad receivers. The Rams have an Offensive Player of the Year candidate at wide receiver, along with the best red zone wide receiver on the other side of him, and a great running back duo. Now, the Broncos had a good running back, but he got injured. They've had a pretty decent rookie running back in R.J. Harvey, and their receivers are decent at best. And I want to share my favorite stat with you guys about these guys. The Seahawks, as a team, as a wide receiver core, have had 12 drops this season. The Patriots have also had 12 drops this season. The Rams have had 21 drops this season. Did I say the Bills? The Bills have had 18 drops this season. Guess how many drops the Broncos have had? Over 40. The Broncos have had over 40 drops on the season. I'm not sure the exact number because the numbers haven't came out specifically, and I'm not going to watch the whole game from Christmas, but if they're not in first place, they're tied for it with the Jags. Now, if we're talking about moving the ball down the field, after telling you those stats and just the weapons as a whole, Bo Nix is the Broncos' entire offense. And coaching has been limiting him off all season with the screen passes, not letting him air it out, not designing more runs for him because he needs to do that. He's an incredible runner. But Bo has had bad moments. But his best moments are some of the best in the league. And the Broncos' defense has been declining recently as well. So Bo Nix has really had to kind of carry the team to some wins as of recent. Now that we have all of our candidates outlined, let's talk about the NFL as a business because it matters. The NFL wants the Chiefs to be good. They're easily the biggest brand in the sport at the moment. And with Tom Brady out of the league needs a new GOAT. I said that with air quotes, which is the narrative they're pushing for Mahomes. And Kelsey is also a huge personality. And add on his now fiance, the most famous person in the world, the Chiefs are great entertainment. And with so many of the fans hating on them of the NFL, it gets conversation going online, which is just more exposure. The Chiefs being good is good for business. That's all there is to it. The dynasty is not over, I can assure you. It's just on a pause. Aside from the Chiefs, though, the NFL wants to please their fans. They need some sense of parity, some sort of feeling that anyone can win it all. If teams' fans don't have hope, why would they care? Why watch the sport? Obviously, the NFL doesn't want that. So if you were a kid, for example, you don't typically choose your dinner. Your parents make the food and you eat it. Now, let's say they make one of your favorite meals. We'll say hot dogs, for example. You're excited about it. It's an awesome feeling. I love hot dogs so much. This is awesome. Thank you so much. But they give you that same meal the next day. You're confused. They never give me this. Why am I getting it again? Not that I'm upset. I'll never complain about getting hot dogs for dinner. Now, say after a week of only getting hot dogs for dinner, you say to your parents, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I really like hot dogs, and I'm thankful I keep getting them for dinner. But maybe let's switch it up a bit." But you love hot dogs. You said that. We know you like it. Why would you not want more? Now, say a month has gone by and you've eaten nothing but hot dogs. At this point, you are begging your parents for something different, anything at all. After a while of the same thing, no matter how much you loved it at the time, you will get bored of it, and it is the only thing you are consuming. And the parents are the NFL, and the child is us, the fans. The fans and voters are the same way, though the process is much quicker in a super fast-moving league like the NFL. And the league knows that. So they want to keep the fans entertained, not bored. Because at the end of it all, the NFL is an entertainment business about telling stories. Now, Josh Allen is great, and everyone was rooting for him to win MVP his entire career. And almost everyone was super excited when he did win it. But no one wants to see him win it again. That's boring. Whereas an all-time great, surefire Hall of Famer, who's played in the league for 16 years, majority of it on an awful team, finally winning MVP, he has been chasing his entire career. Now that's a good story. One people will enjoy. Something new. And same goes for quarterbacks on teams that surprise. I told you earlier with Seattle, they didn't have big expectations. So when they do outdo what we expected, that's exciting. That's something that will keep people talking and interested. That's what the NFL wants. If you don't believe me, or think I'm reaching on this, go look at Coach of the Year. It always goes to a coach who massively exceeded expectations. Usually first-year guys, and this year will be no different. But if we look at it in the most literal sense, it would go to Kyle Shanahan almost every year. Not because he exceeds expectations, but because he is the most valuable to his team, which leads me to the point I'm trying to make with this video. I like the idea of most valuable player going to the most valuable player. But I can admit, that's just boring having the same guy win it back to back. It's not a great story. And that's what the NFL is. It's a story. With everything we've talked about, I would still give my vote to Josh Allen. He's easily been the most valuable player to his team, along with one of the best players in the league this season. Also just easily the greatest athlete in the sport, I think. If not the world at the moment, which is probably a really hot take, but he's just that crazy. Stafford would be my second vote, as he has been the best player in the league this year, along with leading the best team in the league across the season as a whole, and he definitely deserves an MVP before he retires. I don't really consider Darnold to be in the conversation for reasons stated earlier, so he would be my fifth place. Now, for third and fourth place, Bo Nix and Drake Maye would be very close, in my opinion, as they've had very similar seasons across the board. But Maye is much more likely to win it, just because the Patriots' expectations were much lower than the Broncos, which is a factor, as we talked about. Both quarterbacks have similar stats. Drake Maye has a better offense. Bo Nix has a better defense. They're really close. They're neck and neck. They're 3A, 3B. Right now, though, call me biased. I'm a Broncos fan. I love Bo Nix. Right now, my third place vote would go to Bo Nix. But it is incredibly close. Now, how I think the actual race will end, I think Matthew Stafford will win it pretty convincingly. I do think Drake Maye will get second, just for kind of that surprise factor. I think Josh Allen's going to fall all the way to third, just because I don't think they're going to win the division, which is unfortunate for him because he deserves to win it. I think Bo Nix will get fourth, and I think Sam Darnold will get fifth, though I could see another offensive player, or two even, say Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, or even a defensive guy like Myles Garrett sneaking into that fourth or fifth slot. But I'm confident in those top three in that order. So that's how I think the MVP race should end versus how I think it will end. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. If you think I missed someone or some important context or stats, go off on me. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.